Yo, what's good, guys? It's the Theslykrow. How y'all feeling? Hope y'all been having a good week. Man, next gen started with a bang, but sadly, your boy does not have a PS5. Hopefully, they restock that joint soon. But anyways, I wanted to go ahead and talk about what I think is a very good next gen title, AC Valhalla. Now, granted, Ubisoft does deserve its flag over the years, being that they reuse animations, they use the same copy-paste formula from all of their sandbox open-world RPGs. And can you really call these Assassin's Creed games stealth games anymore? But with AC Valhalla, man, they made a lot of new changes, which I think is very groundbreaking, and it really changes the formula that AC has had these last couple of years. Now, the first thing I want to go over is the exploration, which I think is much more pronounced and refined this time around compared to the past AC titles. And if you also explore here, I think they did just an awesome job with the level design. When you're exploring this world, there's a lot of varying different landscapes, and you can definitely tell that they put a lot of heart and soul into crafting this beautiful world. I would go on record and say that the overall aesthetic and the world design rivals that of The Witcher 3 and even Red Dead Redemption 2. Aside from the beautiful aesthetics of the world, what makes exploration so satisfying is that you constantly get rewarded for taking the initiative to explore points of interest on the map. When you open the map, you see many side objectives to pursue. Now, what I found to be the most interesting objective are the golden loot points on the map. This is basically where you unlock rare gear and resources, which you can later upgrade your weapons and armor. And these items are pretty powerful on their own, with unique passive abilities and unique stat modifiers. So you definitely don't want to pass this opportunity of landing yourself some powerful gear. Another cool aspect about exploration is that you get to find skill tomes around the world. And these skills are pretty powerful on their own and can really change the game if you try to conquer those powerful raid locations. And I kind of like how some of these books are kind of daunting to find. Like sometimes I would use my Odin sight ability and I would see a golden point under my feet. And I'm like, Nanny, where you at, B? But as long as you can find those stairs on the map leading down to a cave, then you're all set. Alright, so moving on to combat. Now here's where I think Ubisoft went 2 steps forward and 1 step backwards. Combat is methodological now, and it's not just a hack and slash game anymore. There is a stamina bar, and so using heavy attacks drains the bar, as well as dodging can also drain the bar. But doing consecutive light attacks can increase your stamina bar, so in a sense it kind of favors an aggressive playstyle. Now when you go into these raids that are especially above your power level, you really gotta keep the stamina bar in check. If you're not careful, you can die in an instant. So I definitely recommend checking the stamina bar, especially when you're in these high level zones. And especially when you're fighting those elite warriors, you definitely gotta keep a keen eye on the stamina bar. Now, I've had my fair share of dope moments I've had with the combat, especially fighting these epic warriors that are on the field. I found it to be a much faster version of Dark Souls. However, there are a lot of glaring issues that need to be addressed for this combat. Now, I like that they have added a parry system that is very similar to the classic AC games. But why did they take away that dope counter kill animation? What we get instead is the same execution animation that you see over and over again. What is the definition of insanity? Shout out to my boy Voss. On the real though, they really should have added many more execution animations, and seeing the same animation for the swordsman and those pikemen over and over again does really get really tiring. I especially hate the fact that even your base weapon only has one execution animation. Now granted, you do get a lot of weapons to unlock, but that is still very worrisome. Like, I was a fan of the classic AC games where they had so much more animations when you had the counter kill animations. So I feel like the team was very lazy this time around. Another downside is that weak parry system, where sometimes when I parry, I don't get no feedback whatsoever. Like, the dude is still in his animation and all I hear is a bone cracking sound. Like, that shit just hit different. That being said, I dig what they've done with the dual wielding in this game. Now you have a light attack, a heavy attack, and if you hold L1, you get a special move. Now when you're dual wielding, if you hold L1, you get to use the offhand weapon as a special move. And what's really interesting is that there's a lot of customizations you can do with this dual wielding. And for example, like, I like to keep my dagger in my offhand, and this allows you to do a special backstep move, which is really great for evading those high groups of enemies. Another aspect I like about the game is that I think stealth combat is much more viable this time around. How stealth works here is that each enemy has its own specific stealth meter, and so what happens is that if you get caught, you aggro only one enemy instead of the whole camp. So it's definitely viable to do stealth. So if you do get caught, you can just aggro the man and bring him to a corner, clap him real quick, and it doesn't aggro the whole camp, so you're basically free to do stealth for the rest of the encounters. There's also a lot of interesting stealth skills that you can unlock, including high profile assassination and double assassinations. High profile assassinations are pretty cool as you get to assassinate those elite warriors and as time slows down, so it does give you those epic moments from time to time. So if you're planning to go stealth, I would highly recommend you go for those stealth skills, and upgrading your bow can be pretty useful as well. So overall, man, I really think this is a dope next gen RPG experience. Aside from the poor combat, I think the overall exploration and story of the game is definitely worth your time. Let me know what y'all think, drop a like, leave a comment, it's greatly appreciated. This is the Theslykrow signing off. Later.
Stop and die! I'll get to the bell!